Welcome to Lunar Reflections, where we slow down, think deeper, and rediscover what truly matters in life. If you're tired of chasing things that don't fulfill you, this channel is for you. Make sure to subscribe and be part of a space that values meaning over noise. Now, let's begin. One of the most powerful and enduring ideas about personal responsibility and social change is captured in the words of Mahatma Gandhi: "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." Though simple in structure, this statement carries a depth of meaning that continues to resonate across generations, cultures, and societies. Gandhi, known for leading India's non-violent struggle for independence, did not merely speak about change, he embodied it. His life serves as a living example of how individual actions, grounded in strong moral conviction, can influence the course of history. In many ways, this quote reflects not only his philosophy, but also a universal truth about human behavior and the nature of progress. In today's world, people often express a strong desire for things to be better. We want cleaner environments, kinder communities, more honest leaders, and a more just society. Social media, news outlets, and everyday conversations are filled with opinions about what is wrong and what needs to change. It is easy to point out flaws in systems, institutions, or even other people. However, while many individuals are quick to criticize and demand improvement, far fewer are willing to look inward and ask themselves a more difficult question: what can I change about my own actions, attitudes, and choices? This gap between expectation and personal responsibility is where the true challenge lies. Human nature tends to favor comfort over accountability. It is far easier to expect others to take action than to step outside one's own habits and make meaningful changes. For instance, someone might complain about environmental pollution while continuing to litter or waste resources. Another person might wish for a more respectful society, but still engage in gossip or negative behavior. These contradictions highlight a common pattern. We often want the results of change without being willing to participate in the process ourselves. In doing so, we unintentionally contribute to the very problems we hope to solve. Moreover, there is a widespread belief that individual actions are too small to make a real difference. People may think that one person's efforts are insignificant in the face of large-scale global issues such as climate change, inequality, or corruption. This mindset can lead to passivity, where individuals choose not to act at all because they feel their contributions will not matter. However, this way of thinking overlooks a crucial reality. Every large movement, every major transformation, begins with individuals who decide to act. Change does not appear suddenly or magically. It is built gradually through consistent actions taken by many people over time. Gandhi's statement challenges this passive mindset by shifting the focus from external expectations to internal responsibility. Instead of waiting for the world to improve on its own or relying on others to fix problems, it calls on each person to take initiative. It suggests that if you want to live in a world that values honesty, you must first be honest in your own life. If you wish for a more compassionate society, you must practice compassion in your daily interactions. In this sense, the quote is not just advice, it is a call to action, urging individuals to align their values with their behavior. Another important aspect of this idea is its emphasis on authenticity. True change is not about appearances or temporary actions meant to impress others. It requires a genuine commitment to personal growth and integrity. When individuals make sincere efforts to improve themselves, their actions become more meaningful and impactful. Others begin to notice, and this can create a ripple effect. One person's positive behavior can influence friends, family members, and even strangers, gradually shaping a more positive environment. In this way, change spreads not through force, but through example. Additionally, the concept of being the change encourages a sense of empowerment. Rather than feeling overwhelmed by the scale of global problems, individuals can focus on what is within their control. This shift in perspective transforms feelings of helplessness into a sense of purpose. Instead of asking, "Why isn't the world changing?" People begin to ask, what can I do today to make a difference? This mindset fosters proactive behavior and helps individuals recognize their potential to contribute to something greater than themselves. At its core, Gandhi's message reminds us that society is not an abstract entity separate from individuals, it is a reflection of them. The values, behaviors, and attitudes of people collectively shape the world we live in. Therefore, expecting society to change without changing ourselves is both unrealistic and ineffective. Real progress begins when individuals take responsibility for their own actions and strive to live according to the values they wish to see in others. In conclusion, the quote, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world," offers a profound insight into the relationship between personal behavior and social transformation. It challenges the common tendency to seek change externally while neglecting internal growth. By encouraging individuals to take responsibility, act with integrity, and lead by example, it presents a powerful pathway toward creating a better world. This idea serves as the foundation for understanding how meaningful and lasting change can truly begin with each of us. A central idea behind the quote, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world," often associated with Mahatma Gandhi, is the necessity of beginning with oneself. While it may sound simple, this idea addresses one of the most common obstacles to meaningful change: the tendency to wait for others to act first. Many people recognize problems in society, whether they involve injustice, dishonesty, environmental damage, or lack of empathy, but instead of taking initiative, they look outward and hope that someone else will step in to fix things. This mindset creates a cycle of inaction where everyone expects change, yet no one takes responsibility to begin it. The first reason why change must start from the individual is that waiting for others is often ineffective and unrealistic. In a world where billions of people coexist, each with their own priorities, beliefs, and limitations, there is no guarantee that someone else will act in the way we hope. If everyone adopts a passive attitude, believing that change is someone else's responsibility, then progress becomes impossible. For example, if every person who notices litter in a public space decides not to pick it up because someone else will do it, the environment will only continue to deteriorate. This simple scenario reflects a larger truth. Collective problems persist when individuals refuse to take initiative. Moreover, relying on others to change first can lead to frustration and disappointment. People may become critical of society, blaming governments, institutions, or other individuals for not doing enough, while overlooking their own role in the situation. This outward focus often creates a sense of helplessness, as individuals feel they have little control over the actions of others. However, when a person chooses to start with themselves, they regain a sense of control and purpose. Instead of waiting for change to happen, they become an active participant in creating it. Another important reason to begin with oneself is that every individual is a fundamental part of society. Society is not an abstract concept that exists independently. Rather, it is a collection of individuals whose behaviors, values, and interactions shape the overall environment. This means that any meaningful change at the societal level must involve change at the individual level. If people want to live in a community that values honesty, kindness, and respect, those qualities must first be practiced by individuals in their daily lives. For instance, consider the idea of trust within a society. Trust that does not emerge from laws or policies alone. It is built through consistent, honest behavior between individuals. If people lie, cheat, or act selfishly, trust erodes, and the social fabric weakens. On the other hand, when individuals choose to act with integrity, even in small situations, they contribute to a culture of trust that benefits everyone. This demonstrates how personal actions, though seemingly small, play a crucial role in shaping the larger community. Furthermore, individual change serves as the foundation for collective change. Large-scale transformations, whether social movements, cultural shifts, or advancements in human rights, are ultimately driven by individuals who decide to act differently. History provides countless examples of how one person's commitment to a cause can inspire others to follow. While not everyone will become a global leader, each person has the capacity to influence their immediate surroundings. A student can influence classmates, a worker can influence colleagues, and a family member can influence their household. These small circles of influence gradually expand, contributing to broader societal change. Another key reason why personal change is essential lies in the power of influence and imitation. Human beings are naturally influenced by the behavior of those around them. When people witness positive actions, such as kindness, generosity, or courage, they are more likely to adopt similar behaviors. This creates a ripple effect, where one individual's actions inspire others, leading to a chain reaction of positive change. For example, imagine someone who consistently treats others with respect and patience, even in challenging situations. Over time, those around them may begin to mirror this behavior, creating a more positive and supportive environment. Similarly, acts of kindness, no matter how small, can have a lasting impact on others. A simple gesture, such as helping someone in need or offering words of encouragement, can inspire that person to do the same for someone else. In this way, individual actions can spread far beyond their original context, influencing people in ways that are often unseen. This ripple effect highlights an important truth. Change does not always happen through large, dramatic actions. In many cases, it is the accumulation of small, consistent behaviors that leads to meaningful transformation. When individuals commit to positive change in their own lives, they contribute to a culture where such behavior becomes the norm rather than the exception. Additionally, starting with oneself helps to build credibility and authenticity. People are more likely to be influenced by those who practice what they preach. If someone advocates for honesty but behaves dishonestly, their message loses its impact. On the other hand, when individuals consistently demonstrate the values they promote, they earn the respect and trust of others. This makes their influence more powerful and their efforts more effective. It is also important to recognize that personal change fosters self-awareness and growth. When individuals examine their own behavior and strive to improve, they develop a deeper understanding of themselves and their impact on others. This process of self-reflection encourages responsibility and maturity, helping individuals become more mindful of their choices. Over time, this leads to a stronger sense of character and a greater ability to contribute positively to society. In conclusion, the necessity of starting with oneself lies at the heart of meaningful change. Waiting for others to act often leads to inaction, while recognizing one's role as part of society empowers individuals to take responsibility. Each person's behavior contributes to the larger social environment, and even small actions have the potential to create a ripple effect that influences others. By choosing to change their own actions, attitudes, and habits, individuals not only improve themselves, but also play a vital role in shaping a better, more positive world. A central idea behind the quote, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world," often associated with Mahatma Gandhi, is the necessity of beginning with oneself. While it may sound simple, this idea addresses one of the most common obstacles to meaningful change, the tendency to wait for others to act first. Many people recognize problems in society, whether they involve injustice, dishonesty, environmental damage, or lack of empathy, but instead of taking initiative, they look outward and hope that someone else will step in to fix things. This mindset creates a cycle of inaction, where everyone expects change, yet no one takes responsibility to begin it. The first reason why change must start from the individual is that waiting for others is often ineffective and unrealistic. In a world where billions of people coexist, each with their own priorities, beliefs, and limitations, there is no guarantee that someone else will act in the way we hope. If everyone adopts a passive attitude, believing that change is someone else's responsibility, then progress becomes impossible. For example, if every person who notices litter in a public space decides not to pick it up because someone else will do it, the environment will only continue to deteriorate. This simple scenario reflects a larger truth. Collective problems persist when individuals refuse to take initiative. Moreover, relying on others to change first can lead to frustration and disappointment. People may become critical of society, blaming governments, institutions, or other individuals for not doing enough, while overlooking their own role in the situation. This outward focus often creates a sense of helplessness, as individuals feel they have little control over the actions of others. However, when a person chooses to start with themselves, they regain a sense of control and purpose. Instead of waiting for change to happen, they become an active participant in creating it. Another important reason to begin with oneself is that every individual is a fundamental part of society. Society is not an abstract concept that exists independently. Rather, it is a collection of individuals whose behaviors, values, and interactions shape the overall environment. This means that any meaningful change at the societal level must involve change at the individual level. If people want to live in a community that values honesty, kindness, and respect, those qualities must first be practiced by individuals in their daily lives. For instance, consider the idea of trust within a society. Trust that does not emerge from laws or policies alone. It is built through consistent, honest behavior between individuals. If people lie, cheat, or act selfishly, trust erodes, and the social fabric weakens. On the other hand, when individuals choose to act with integrity, even in small situations, they contribute to a culture of trust that benefits everyone. This demonstrates how personal actions, though seemingly small, play a crucial role in shaping the larger community. Furthermore, individual change serves as the foundation for collective change. Large-scale transformations, whether social movements, cultural shifts, or advancements in human rights, are ultimately driven by individuals who decide to act differently. History provides countless examples of how one person's commitment to a cause can inspire others to follow. While not everyone will become a global leader, each person has the capacity to influence their immediate surroundings. A student can influence classmates, a worker can influence colleagues, and a family member can influence their household. These small circles of influence gradually expand, contributing to broader societal change. Another key reason why personal change is essential lies in the power of influence and imitation. Human beings are naturally influenced by the behavior of those around them. When people witness positive actions, such as kindness, generosity, or courage, they are more likely to adopt similar behaviors. This creates a ripple effect, where one individual's actions inspire others, leading to a chain reaction of positive change. For example, imagine someone who consistently treats others with respect and patience, even in challenging situations. Over time, those around them may begin to mirror this behavior, creating a more positive and supportive environment. Similarly, acts of kindness, no matter how small, can have a lasting impact on others. A simple gesture, such as helping someone in need or offering words of encouragement, can inspire that person to do the same for someone else. In this way, individual actions can spread far beyond their original context, influencing people in ways that are often unseen. This ripple effect highlights an important truth. Change does not always happen through large, dramatic actions. In many cases, it is the accumulation of small, consistent behaviors that leads to meaningful transformation. When individuals commit to positive change in their own lives, they contribute to a culture where such behavior becomes the norm rather than the exception. Additionally, starting with oneself helps to build credibility and authenticity. People are more likely to be influenced by those who practice what they preach. If someone advocates for honesty but behaves dishonestly, their message loses its impact. On the other hand, when individuals consistently demonstrate the values they promote, they earn the respect and trust of others. This makes their influence more powerful and their efforts more effective. It is also important to recognize that personal change fosters self-awareness and growth. When individuals examine their own behavior and strive to improve, they develop a deeper understanding of themselves and their impact on others. This process of self-reflection encourages responsibility and maturity, helping individuals become more mindful of their choices. Over time, this leads to a stronger sense of character and a greater ability to contribute positively to society. In conclusion, the necessity of starting with oneself lies at the heart of meaningful change. Waiting for others to act often leads to inaction, while recognizing one's role as part of society empowers individuals to take responsibility. Each person's behavior contributes to the larger social environment, and even small actions have the potential to create a ripple effect that influences others. By choosing to change their own actions, attitudes, and habits, individuals not only improve themselves, but also play a vital role in shaping a better, more positive world. To truly understand what it means to be the change that you wish to see in the world, a quote often attributed to Mahatma Gandhi, it is important to move beyond theory and examine how this idea can be expressed in everyday life. The concept of being the change is not abstract or distant. Rather, it is reflected through concrete actions in different areas of life, including education, daily interactions, and participation in society. These expressions may seem small at first, but they form the foundation of meaningful and lasting change. One of the most immediate and important areas where individuals can embody positive change in their academic life. For students, school is not only a place to gain knowledge, but also an environment where character and habits are developed. Being the change in this context begins with diligence. A hard-working student who consistently puts effort into their studies demonstrates discipline and commitment. This attitude not only leads to personal success, but also sets a standard for others. When one student takes their responsibilities seriously, it can encourage classmates to do the same, gradually creating a more focused and productive learning environment. Equally important is honesty. Academic dishonesty, such as cheating on exams or copying assignments, may seem like a quick way to achieve good results, but it undermines the integrity of both the individual and the educational system. A student who chooses to be honest, even when it is difficult, embodies the values they wish to see in others. This kind of behavior builds trust between students and teachers and promotes a culture of fairness. It sends a powerful message that success should be earned through effort, not shortcuts. Responsibility is another key aspect of being the change in an academic setting. This includes completing assignments on time, participating actively in class, and taking ownership of one's learning. A responsible student does not wait to be reminded or forced to do their work. Instead, they take initiative. This proactive attitude reflects a deeper understanding of the importance of education and personal growth. Over time, such behavior can influence peers, creating a more supportive and accountable classroom environment. Beyond the classroom, the idea of being the change extends into everyday life. In daily interactions, individuals have countless opportunities to demonstrate kindness, empathy, and respect. Simple actions, such as helping someone carry heavy items, offering a kind word to someone who is struggling, or showing patience in difficult situations, may seem minor, but they have a significant impact. These acts of kindness contribute to a more compassionate and supportive community. Living with kindness also means treating others with dignity, regardless of differences in background, opinion, or status. In a world where misunderstandings and conflicts are common, choosing to respond with empathy rather than judgment is a powerful form of change. It helps to reduce negativity and fosters a sense of connection among people. When individuals consistently act with kindness, they create an environment where others feel valued and respected. Another important expression of personal change in daily life is environmental responsibility. Many people express concern about issues such as pollution and climate change, but fewer take consistent action to address them. Being the change in this context involves adopting habits that reduce harm to the environment, such as conserving energy, reducing waste, recycling, and avoiding unnecessary use of plastic. These actions may seem small on an individual level, but when practiced consistently and collectively, they can lead to significant improvements. Moreover, environmentally responsible behavior can influence others. When people see someone making an effort to protect the environment, they may feel inspired to do the same. For example, a person who consistently cleans up after themselves in public spaces or participates in community cleanup efforts sets an example that others can follow. This demonstrates how individual actions can contribute to a broader cultural shift towards sustainability. In addition to personal and daily life, being the change also involves active participation in society. This includes the courage to speak out against wrongdoing and injustice. In many situations, people may recognize that something is wrong, but choose to remain silent out of fear or convenience. However, silence can allow harmful behaviors to continue. Being the change requires individuals to stand up for what is right. Even when it is difficult, speaking out does not always mean engaging in large-scale activism. It can begin with small but meaningful actions. For instance, correcting misinformation, defending someone who is being treated unfairly, or refusing to participate in harmful behavior, all ways of taking a stand. These actions demonstrate integrity and moral courage, which are essential qualities for creating a just and fair society. At the same time, promoting positive values is just as important as opposing negative ones. Individuals can contribute to social change by sharing messages of hope, encouragement, and unity. In today's digital age, this can be done through social media, where people have the ability to reach a wide audience. By choosing to share constructive and uplifting content rather than negativity or misinformation, individuals can help shape a more positive online environment. Furthermore, being the change in society involves collaboration and community engagement. Volunteering, participating in local initiatives, and supporting those in need are all ways of contributing to the well-being of others. These actions not only provide direct benefits to the community, but also strengthen social bonds and create a sense of shared responsibility. Ultimately, the expression of being the change lies in consistency. It is not about occasional acts of goodness, but about making positive behavior a regular part of one's life. Whether in school, at home, or in society, individuals have the ability to influence their surroundings through their actions. Each choice, no matter how small, contributes to a larger pattern that shapes the world around us. In conclusion, the idea of becoming the change is realized through practical, everyday actions across different areas of life. In education, it is reflected through diligence, honesty, and responsibility. In daily life, it is expressed through kindness, respect, and environmental awareness. In society, it is demonstrated through courage, integrity, and the promotion of positive values. By consistently practicing these behaviors, individuals not only improve themselves, but also inspire others, creating a ripple effect that leads to meaningful and lasting change. To better understand the true power of the idea "be the change" that you wish to see in the world, often attributed to Mahatma Gandhi, it is helpful to look at real-life examples that demonstrate how this principle can be applied in practice. These examples range from influential historical figures to ordinary individuals performing simple, everyday acts. Together, they illustrate that change is not limited to grand gestures or extraordinary circumstances. It can begin with both remarkable leadership and small, consistent actions. One of the most well-known examples of someone who embodied this principle is Mahatma Gandhi himself. Gandhi did not simply advocate for change. He lived according to the values he believed in, particularly the principle of nonviolence. At a time when India was under British colonial rule, many people believed that violence was the only way to fight oppression. However, Gandhi chose a different path. He believed that true and lasting change could be achieved through peaceful resistance, moral courage, and unwavering commitment to justice. Through movements such as the Salt March and various acts of civil disobedience, Gandhi demonstrated that one individual's dedication to nonviolence could inspire millions. His actions were not easy. He faced imprisonment, criticism, and significant personal sacrifice. Yet, His consistency and integrity earned him the trust and respect of people, not only in India, but around the world. By embodying the change he wished to see, Gandhi showed that leadership is not about power or authority, but about setting an example that others can follow. His influence extended far beyond his own lifetime, inspiring other leaders and movements that continue to advocate for peace and justice today. Another powerful example can be seen in the life of Martin Luther King Jr. Deeply inspired by Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolent resistance, King applied similar principles during the civil rights movement in the United States. At a time when racial segregation and discrimination were deeply rooted in society, King encouraged people to respond to injustice with peaceful protest rather than violence. Through speeches, marches, and acts of civil disobedience, he helped bring national attention to the struggle for equality. King's leadership demonstrated that individuals can challenge deeply entrenched systems through courage and moral clarity. His famous "I Have a Dream" speech not only expressed his vision of a more just society, but also inspired countless individuals to believe in the possibility of change. Like Gandhi, King showed that being the change involves both personal commitment and the ability to inspire others. His efforts played a crucial role in advancing civil rights and continue to serve as a source of inspiration for movements around the world. While these historical figures provide powerful examples, it is equally important to recognize that change is not limited to famous individuals. In everyday life, small actions can have a meaningful impact. For instance, something as simple as picking up litter in a public space may seem insignificant, but it contributes to a cleaner environment and sets an example for others. When people see someone taking responsibility for their surroundings, they may feel encouraged to do the same. Over time, these small actions can lead to noticeable improvements in the community. Similarly, helping those in need is another way individuals can embody positive change. Acts such as assisting an elderly person, supporting a struggling friend, or volunteering in the community may not attract widespread attention, but they have a profound impact on those who receive help. These actions create a sense of connection and compassion, reminding people that they are not alone. In a world where many individuals face challenges and difficulties, even small gestures of kindness can make a significant difference. In addition, everyday interactions provide countless opportunities to influence others positively. For example, choosing to speak respectfully, listen attentively, and respond with patience can help create a more supportive and understanding environment. These behaviors may seem ordinary, but they play a crucial role in shaping the way people treat one another. When individuals consistently demonstrate respect and empathy, they contribute to a culture where such values are encouraged and reinforced. Personal experiences also offer valuable examples of how individuals can be the change in their own lives. Consider a student who decides to stop cheating on assignments and instead commits to studying honestly. While this decision may initially seem like a personal choice with limited impact, it can influence classmates who notice the change. Over time, this can help create a more honest and fair academic environment. Similarly, someone who chooses to reduce their use of plastic or conserve energy at home may inspire family members and friends to adopt similar habits. In many cases, the impact of personal actions extends beyond what is immediately visible. A kind word, a helpful gesture, or a responsible decision can leave a lasting impression on others, even if the effect is not immediately apparent. This highlights the importance of consistency. When individuals repeatedly act in positive ways, they build trust and credibility, making their influence stronger over time. Furthermore, examples of positive change can be found in communities around the world. Local initiatives, such as neighborhood cleanup events, charity drives, and volunteer programs, often begin with a small group of individuals who are willing to take the first step. These efforts demonstrate how collective action can grow from individual commitment. When people come together to address shared challenges, they create a sense of unity and purpose that strengthens the community as a whole. In conclusion, examples from both history and everyday life clearly illustrate the power of being the change. Influential figures like Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. show how strong principles and consistent actions can inspire large-scale transformation. At the same time, ordinary individuals demonstrate that small, meaningful actions, such as helping others, protecting the environment, and acting with integrity can create a ripple effect that influences those around them. Whether through great leadership or simple daily choices, these examples remind us that change is not beyond our reach. It begins with each person's willingness to act and to live according to the values they wish to see in the world. While the idea of being the change presents an inspiring and empowering approach to improving society, it is also important to consider a contrasting perspective in order to fully understand its significance. In reality, not everyone embraces this mindset. Many individuals recognize problems in the world and are quick to criticize or complain, yet they hesitate or then refuse to take action themselves. This gap between awareness and action represents a major obstacle to meaningful change and highlights why the message often associated with Mahatma Gandhi remains so relevant today. One common pattern in society is the tendency to focus on what is wrong rather than on what can be done to improve it. People often engage in discussions about issues such as corruption, inequality, environmental degradation, or social injustice. While raising awareness is important, it can easily turn into a cycle of negativity when it is not accompanied by action. Complaining without contributing to solutions not only fails to address the problem, but can also create a sense of helplessness and frustration. Over time, this mindset may lead individuals to believe that change is impossible, reinforcing their reluctance to take initiative. There are several reasons why people fall into this pattern of criticism without action. One of the most common is fear. Taking action, especially when it involves challenging the status quo, can be uncomfortable and even risky. Individuals may fear judgment, failure, or rejection. For example, someone who wants to speak out against unfair behavior may remain silent because they worry about how others will react. Similarly, a person who wants to adopt a different lifestyle or set of values may hesitate because they fear standing out or being misunderstood. As a result, they choose the safer path of observation and criticism rather than participation. Another reason is convenience. Change often requires effort, discipline, and persistence, all of which can be difficult to maintain. It is much easier to point out problems than to actively work towards solutions. For instance, many people express concern about environmental issues that are unwilling to make changes to their own habits, such as reducing waste or conserving energy. This inconsistency reflects a broader tendency to prioritize comfort over responsibility. When individuals are not willing to step outside their comfort zones, meaningful change becomes unlikely. In addition, some people underestimate the importance of individual action. They may believe that their efforts are too small to make a difference in the face of large-scale problems. This belief can lead to a sense of insignificance, where individuals feel that their contributions do not matter. As a result, they may choose not to act at all, assuming that change must come from powerful institutions or large groups. However, this perspective overlooks a fundamental truth. Every significant change begins with small, individual actions. The idea that personal change is insignificant is not only misleading, but also counterproductive. If everyone were to adopt this mindset, no one would take action, and problems would persist indefinitely. On the other hand, when individuals recognize the value of their actions, no matter how small, they contribute to a larger process of transformation. Even simple actions such as being honest, showing kindness, or making responsible choices can influence others and create a positive ripple effect. It is important to acknowledge that individual change may appear limited in scope. One person alone cannot solve global issues such as climate change, poverty, or inequality. However, the purpose of personal change is not to achieve immediate, large-scale results, but to initiate a process. When individuals take the first step, they set an example that others can follow. Over time, these individual actions accumulate, leading to broader societal change. In this way, small efforts serve as the foundation for larger transformations. Furthermore, the act of beginning is often the most critical step. Without it, even the best intentions remain unrealized. Many people wait for the perfect moment or for ideal conditions before taking action, but such conditions rarely exist. Change does not require perfection, it requires willingness. By taking even a small step, individuals break the cycle of inaction and move closer to their goals. This initial effort can build momentum, making it easier to continue and expand their actions over time. Another important point to consider is that action, even when small, has intrinsic value. It reflects a commitment to one's values and a sense of responsibility toward others. In contrast, inaction, despite awareness, can lead to a sense of guilt or dissatisfaction. When individuals know what is right but choose not to act, they create a disconnect between their beliefs and their behavior. Over time, this can weaken their sense of integrity and self-respect. Taking action, on the other hand, strengthens these qualities and reinforces a positive sense of identity. Moreover, individuals who move beyond criticism and take action often inspire others to do the same. While complaints may spread negativity, positive actions can generate motivation and hope. For example, when someone consistently demonstrates responsible behavior, others may begin to question their own habits and consider making changes. This influence is subtle but powerful, as it operates through example rather than force. In contrast, a society where most people only criticize without acting is unlikely to progress. Such an environment can become stagnant, filled with dissatisfaction, but lacking direction. Without individuals who are willing to take initiative, even the most pressing issues remain unresolved. This highlights the importance of shifting from a mindset of complaint to one of responsibility. In conclusion, the tendency to criticize without taking action represents a significant barrier to meaningful change. Fear, convenience, and the belief that individual efforts are insignificant often prevent people from acting on their values. However, it is precisely these small, individual actions that form the foundation of larger transformations. Although personal change may seem limited, it is an essential starting point. Without it, no progress can occur. By choosing to act rather than merely observe, individuals not only align their behavior with their beliefs, but also contribute to a process that can ultimately lead to a better and more positive world. From the ideas discussed above, one of the most important outcomes of the quote, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world," often attributed to Mahatma Gandhi, is the set of valuable lessons it offers in both awareness and action. This statement is not merely a philosophical reflection. It serves as a practical guide for how individuals should think and behave in relation to the society they live in. By deeply understanding its message, individuals can develop a stronger sense of responsibility and adopt meaningful habits that contribute to positive change. The first and most fundamental lesson lies in awareness, specifically the recognition of personal responsibility towards society. Many people tend to view social issues as distant problems that belong to governments, organizations, or other groups of people. However, this perspective creates a separation between the individual and the collective, as if society exists independently of personal actions. In reality, society is shaped by the daily choices, behaviors, and values of its members. This means that every individual, regardless of their position or influence, plays a role in determining the quality of the world around them. Understanding this connection requires a shift in mindset. Instead of asking, "Why doesn't the world change?" individuals must begin to ask, "What is my role in the current state of the world?" This question encourages self-reflection and honesty. It invites individuals to examine their own behavior and consider whether it aligns with the values they wish to see in others. For example, someone who desires a more respectful society must consider whether they consistently treat others with respect. Similarly, a person who hopes for greater honesty must evaluate their own commitment to truthfulness in everyday situations. This awareness fosters a sense of accountability. When individuals recognize that they are not separate from society, but are active contributors to it, they become more mindful of their actions. They begin to understand that even small decisions, such as how they speak to others, how they handle responsibilities, or how they respond to challenges, have an impact beyond themselves. This realization can be both humbling and empowering. On one hand, it highlights the responsibility that each person carries. On the other hand, it reinforces the idea that everyone has the potential to make a difference. Another important aspect of this awareness is the understanding that change is a continuous process rather than a one-time event. Personal growth does not happen instantly, and neither does social transformation. Both require time, effort, and persistence. By accepting this, individuals can develop patience and resilience, which are essential qualities for long-term change. Instead of becoming discouraged by slow progress, they learn to appreciate the value of consistent effort and gradual improvement. In addition to awareness, the quote emphasizes the importance of action. Recognizing one's responsibility is only the first step. It must be followed by concrete efforts to improve. One of the most practical lessons is that change should begin with small, manageable actions. Large goals can often feel overwhelming, leading individuals to delay or avoid taking action altogether. However, when change is approached through simple, everyday behaviors, it becomes more achievable and sustainable. For instance, practicing honesty in daily interactions, showing kindness to others, managing time effectively, or maintaining a positive attitude are all examples of small actions that reflect personal growth. These behaviors may seem minor, but when repeated consistently, they form habits that shape character. Over time, these habits become a natural part of an individual's identity, making positive behavior more effortless and genuine. Starting small also helps to build confidence. When individuals see the results of their efforts, even in simple ways, they become more motivated to continue. This creates a positive cycle where small successes lead to greater commitment and larger changes. For example, someone who begins by improving their study habits may gradually develop stronger discipline, which can then be applied to other areas of life. Similarly, a person who starts by helping others in small ways may become more involved in community activities over time. Another crucial aspect of action is consistency. It is not enough to act positively once or twice. True change requires sustained effort. This is where many people struggle, as it is easy to lose motivation or revert to old habits. However, consistency is what transforms temporary actions into lasting change. By committing to daily improvement, individuals reinforce their values and strengthen their character. Consistency also reflects sincerity. When actions are repeated over time, they demonstrate that an individual's commitment to change is genuine rather than superficial. This not only benefits the individual, but also increases their influence on others. People are more likely to be inspired by someone who consistently lives according to their values than by someone who only occasionally demonstrates positive behavior. Moreover, taking action on a daily basis helps to bridge the gap between intention and reality. Many individuals have good intentions but fail to act on them. This can lead to frustration or a sense of unfulfilled potential. By focusing on practical steps, individuals turn their intentions into tangible outcomes. This not only improves their own lives, but also contributes to the well-being of those around them. It is also important to recognize that personal change often involves overcoming challenges. There will be moments of doubt, difficulty, and even failure. However, these experiences are a natural part of the process. Instead of being discouraged, individuals should view them as opportunities to learn and grow. Persistence in the face of challenges is what ultimately leads to meaningful transformation. In conclusion, the quote "Be the change that you wish to see in the world" offers profound lessons in both awareness and action. It teaches individuals to recognize their responsibility as active members of society and to understand that their actions have a meaningful impact. At the same time, It encourages them to take practical steps toward improvement by starting small and remaining consistent. Through self-reflection, commitment, and daily effort, individuals can not only transform themselves, but also contribute to a larger process of positive change. In this way, the journey toward a better world begins with a simple yet powerful decision to take responsibility and act. In conclusion, the quote "Be the change that you wish to see in the world," often attributed to Mahatma Gandhi, carries a timeless and deeply meaningful message about the relationship between the individual and society. Throughout this discussion, it becomes clear that this statement is far more than a simple piece of advice. It is a powerful philosophy that calls for personal responsibility, integrity, and action. It reminds us that the world we live in is not shaped solely by large institutions or distant forces, but by the everyday choices, attitudes, and behaviors of individuals. In this sense, change is not something abstract or unattainable. It is something that begins within each person. One of the most important ideas reinforced by this quote is that meaningful change does not come from merely wishing for a better world, but from actively working toward it. Too often, people fall into the habit of hoping that others will take the first step, waiting for leaders to make better decisions, for systems to improve, or for society as a whole to evolve. However, this mindset overlooks a simple truth. If everyone waits, nothing happens. Change cannot exist without a starting point, and that starting point must come from individuals who are willing to act. By shifting the focus from external expectations to internal responsibility, the quote encourages us to take ownership of the kind of world we want to create. At the same time, it is important to recognize that changing the world does not require extraordinary power, fame, or influence. The idea of transforming society may seem overwhelming, especially when we consider the scale of global challenges. However, Gandhi's message reminds us that change does not begin with grand gestures. It begins with small, consistent actions. A kind word, an honest decision, a responsible habit. These may appear insignificant on their own, but they accumulate over time and influence those around us. When individuals commit to living according to their values, they contribute to a chain reaction that can extend far beyond their immediate surroundings. This perspective makes the idea of change more accessible and achievable. Instead of feeling powerless in the face of large problems, individuals can focus on what is within their control. They can choose to act with kindness, to speak with honesty, to treat others with respect, and to take responsibility for their actions. These choices, though simple, have the power to shape relationships, influence communities, and ultimately contribute to a more positive society. In this way, changing the world is not a distant or unrealistic goal. It is a process that unfolds through the collective efforts of individuals. Furthermore, the quote highlights the importance of authenticity. Being the change is not about appearing good or seeking recognition. It is about genuinely striving to become a better person. This requires self-awareness, discipline, and a willingness to grow. It means acknowledging one's weaknesses, learning from mistakes, and continuously working toward improvement. True change begins when individuals are honest with themselves and committed to aligning their actions with their values. This inner transformation is what gives external actions their meaning and impact. On a personal level, this message serves as both a challenge and a source of inspiration. It challenges me to reflect on my own behavior and to consider whether I am truly living according to the values I believe in. It reminds me that it is not enough to simply hope for a better world. I must actively contribute to it through my actions. At the same time, it inspires me by showing that I have the ability to make a difference, no matter how small my efforts may seem. Moving forward, I am committed to applying this principle in my daily life. This means striving to be more responsible in my actions, more mindful in my interactions, and more consistent in my efforts to improve myself. I aim to approach challenges with a positive attitude, to treat others with kindness and respect, and to take initiative rather than waiting for others to act. While I understand that change is a gradual process and that I may not always succeed, I believe that persistence and sincerity are key to growth. Ultimately, the message of being the change is both simple and profound. It reminds us that the power to shape the world lies within each of us. By taking responsibility for our own actions and committing to personal growth, we become active participants in the creation of a better society. The world may not change overnight, but every positive action contributes to a larger movement toward progress. In the end, the journey toward a better world begins with a single decision, the decision to change ourselves. And when enough individuals make that choice, the impact can be truly transformative. Thank you for spending this quiet moment with Lunar Reflections. I truly appreciate you being here and listening all the way through. If this story brought you even a little clarity or peace, don't forget to subscribe and stay with us on this journey. Now, as the day comes to an end, I hope you can let go of everything that's been weighing on your mind. Take a deep breath and allow yourself to rest. Wishing you a calm heart, a peaceful mind, and a truly restful night.